worked for Disney, right? When you were first getting started, what did you do for Disney?
Um, the kids always ask, like when I go to schools, they're always like, "Did you wear a costume?" And I was like, "No." I That would have been both amazing and terrifying, I would imagine. Uh, Both because the heat in Southern California or in Orlando in one of those costumes has to be intense, and I do not envy any of them. But also just not being able to talk. It's almost like, and I think they do hire actors who know how to move and communicate with gestures and stuff when you're in one of those like full body like Mickey Mouse costumes or anything versus like a princess or something. So that always blows my mind. I was just working at Disney.com, so it was nothing terribly exciting. But I am a huge Disney fan, primarily for the animation, but also I grew up going to the parks, and there's something uh, like that hits me in like the non-cynical part of my heart when I go there, and it does feel magical. Um, and part of that is just because they throw so much money at advertising and pushing that. But there's something about it that like seeing a castle before you that looks pretty real, and even knowing all the little tricks they use with forced perspective and everything, it still gets you, or it gets me, and it's something that like has always meant something. And it kind of goes back to another reason I love fairy tales, which is like in a fairy tale, magic is just a normal, it's basically like science. It's just happening outside. It's not that strange that you end up selling your cow for magic beans. Like no one was typically like Jack wasn't that surprised when the beanstalk grows in his backyard. Um, and I love that. I love that magic can just happen, and it does happen. And I love the idea that like that would be the world. So that's one of the things about Disney that kind of always gets me. I love that you can go to these parks and feel like magic could happen there. It's like the idealized version of castles and magicians and knights and everything, uh, in a very sort of innocent, toned down way. But there's something about it that I love. So that was the reason I ended up going to Disney. I just wanted to work at the company, and there's always, you can't go and see behind the scenes of something and have it kind of retain that magic. But I got to do some amazing things there that I got to go to Pixar at one point, which was a ton of fun. Um, yeah, it was so I it was like the opportunity of a lifetime, even though I was just working at Disney.com, just to kind of like see a lot of the cool behind the scenes thing. I used to go and hang out at the studios because I was in Los Angeles at the time, and just have lunch and walk around where like Walt used to have his office and stuff. And there was something very fanboy about it that just like always tickled me. It was amazing.
Is there anything about the company culture that you've carried with you into creating your own stories?
I'd actually I got published right when I started working there, so Half Upon a Time had already been kind of written. But I don't know about the culture necessarily. The fun thing about Disney is that so many people there are there because they love it. Um, and so there's very much like a protectiveness among people there. You also have just like people who come in because it's a big company and everything, but so many people like truly care, especially in the creative departments and like the animators and everything. They want to tell the best possible story they can. So I guess most of what I got from being there was just getting inspired by like some amazingly creative people. I got to have lunch once with Joe Rohde, who was an Imagineer who built like Animal Kingdom, and just he'd been working there forever, and he's just the most inspiring dude. He just talks about his process, and I want to write. I just want to jump back to my computer and just dive into a story. And he actually, this is something that amazed me and really impressed me. Uh, they were doing art for a park that didn't end up happening. Um, and so I won't talk about it too much because I don't want to get sued or anything. But he was showing me that they had gotten, um, I forget the exact details, but basically they wanted to present like uh, a restaurant in some sort of South American motif. So they had like Peruvian artists interpret Brazilian art, and Brazilian artists interpret Peruvian art. And he was like, I wanted to make it sort of this hyper realism where it felt new and different, but true. Like this like larger truth to it. Uh, and he wasn't even going to use this. It was just purely for inspiration. Like they were getting this just to kind of develop like their style. And it was just to have that like be the culture where artists are encouraged to like you know, go out and pay other artists just to be inspired by them. That part is truly amazing, and like that will always be the part of Disney that I will love no matter what, no matter what the current CEO or whatever are doing. There are people there who like are so take their process and their creativity so seriously, and are just working to be inspired by and to inspire other people. So yeah, that part was very like satisfying in every way. And yeah.
CEOs get too much attention focused on them, I think. And I think that's true. Like anytime I see a movie and like this was directed by, if we're seeing like a great big major motion picture, like a Marvel film, like, okay, well, yeah, one person was officially the director, but he wasn't up making the costumes every morning or writing the screenplay. There's a whole army of people that goes into any giant endeavor like that. I think that's
Exactly.
just a sickness of our culture. We like Steve Jobs standing out there, no belt on his jeans, like I did this. No, there's a whole bunch of people behind you that did this. You're just the guy that stands out and brands it.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely something that I feel like there's that American individualism where we're like, yeah, Steve Jobs did it all, or Jeff Bezos did it all. And it's like, especially with Apple, it's like they have so many designers and just people pushing like new ways. And Steve Jobs might have been like, yeah, let's focus on that. But it's like you said with movies too, like the sheer, it's like an army of people making these, and so many creative people, and like people building sets that are going to be struck down the next day, and all their work will be on screen for maybe like 30 seconds, but they still put their heart into it. It's one of those reasons why, like, as much as the Oscars are kind of ridiculous and everything, it's still nice that they have so many awards for all of the stuff that never gets recognized. um all the people in the credits who you're just sitting there like your eyes are glazing as you're waiting for the post-credit scene, who don't get enough recognition. It's nice to be able to like show off how amazing those costumes are, or like just the production art, or I don't even know if they do storyboarding, but that seems like something they should definitely be like recognizing too. Those people, like so many Marvel movies I think are storyboarded now just from the start, because it makes so much sense. So much about comic books as like a style that leads to it's kind of like outlining a book. You get to see what the movie's going to look like from all different perspectives before you even have to start, and I'm guessing that's a lot cheaper than going out and filming and then refilming and reshooting and everything over and over. I keep getting off on these tangents about the creative aspect.
Yeah, no, I think that's it's I don't know if it's uniquely American, but it's part of capitalism's huckster sales pitch that if you work hard, you can be Jeff Bezos and have health care, or you didn't work hard and now you don't get health care. You're just you.
Yep. It's something. My wife always points out that it's like we're pushed to see people in poverty as deserving it so that we don't feel bad. And it's the most like it's just kind of, it's so dark that that society would be like, oh well, those people deserve it, but we're better, so we can get by. And it's like, geesh, maybe we should try caring. just to see how it goes. Let's see, like, if we had some empathy, let's just try it for maybe a decade and see what happens. Could be fun.
Even if you don't feel it, just say you do. See if
Pretend.
see if you don't maybe catch up eventually.
Take it till you make it. Let's see what happens.